Irvin Lewis, hello. Wanted to talk to you today about your job here at the UNF Arena and what you do in terms of facilities management. And my first question is, what are the skills you feel it takes to handle this facilities management situation here at UNF?
Besides organization and of course leadership skills, I think the biggest thing you have to have is the ability to communicate with several different people in different departments, and also having patience, because being a Division I program, not having your own facility brings about so many other issues. And so having the patience and understanding that we can't have our facility all to ourselves. We have to share it with students. You have to share it with other organizations and things of that nature. I think that's, for this facility, that's the biggest issue, and that's what you need to have in order to make everything work.
Mm-hmm. In this facility being shared, is it a completely public use venue, or is it a private use venue? And within that structure of who owns this building, is there who has the naming rights? And I know now that UNF Arena is not named. Is that in the future?
I really don't know if naming rights is in the future. Of course, the arena is for the use of UNF students, faculty, and of course student athletes. As far as with us getting ready to embark on building a new wellness center with so the students can use the wellness center too. I envision having less traffic in the arena, but it's a private venue, but for public use of our students. But no other outside entity can come into the university and use this facility without paying. That's it's supposed to be a rental fee, and also they need to have that because of insurance purposes and liabilities and things like that. So it's not just open to the public, but it's open to the student population, but private entities, no.
Okay, so if I wanted to rent this facility or was looking at this venue as something I wanted to use, what are the amenities that we have here in the arena to be used?
Besides the court, the main floor, you have several locker rooms here. They even have a training room here. You have several classrooms here, and then I think they have two group fitness rooms here. I think that's all the arena has to offer, yet besides concessions, which we don't control that.
Okay. We meaning athletics doesn't control concessions.
Well, athletics nor do rec controls concessions.
Okay.
Concessions is a totally separate entity that's ran by, I guess, food service and student government.
Right.
And they have the rights to concessions throughout campus and
right.
In different venues on campus.
When we were talking in this chapter about management of a venue, everything in the chapter has to do with a streamlined management hierarchy, where there's one entity that's dictating a mission statement and objectives for the whole.
Right.
Where in this venue it seems that there's a separate entity doing food service and concessions that doesn't necessarily fall under
right.
the two management, if I'm
right.
correct, the two managements of recreation and
right.
athletics.
Right.
So
right.
it's three separate entities trying to work in coordination.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
You're trying to work as one. Yeah.
Okay, and that was my next question, the management structure of the venue. So can you just outline that as far as your understanding of it?
Well, as far as I understand it, of course, recreation and student government, they have a hierarchy coming steaming down from the vice president of student affairs down to the actual director of recreation and the facilities manager here. I've only been in this position for a year as the overseer of athletic facilities. Well, with this not being a designated athletic facility, this is a shared facility, I have to correspond, and where we have to correspond together, recreation and student government, with all our schedules. Schedules stemming from practice schedules to competitions to if we have any visiting teams coming in that would like to utilize the facility for practice, shoot-arounds, or what have you. All of that has to be coordinated because we still have to keep in mind that we have to provide some time for the students to have rec play, free time in the arena, things of that nature. So it can really become a cluster. So it has dictated all parties meeting, if not daily, but we have a standard meeting every week. But all parties have to be in constant communication to make sure all things are working for the not only the betterment of athletics, but for the students too. So,
And when we're talking about this, we're talking not just about UNF Arena, but Hodges Stadium, the baseball field, and the softball field.
well, the baseball field and softball field are the only two designated fields for athletics.
Okay.
They're the only two designated fields that athletics have total control of.
Okay.
Hodges Stadium is also a shared facility.
Okay.
But it's shared, but with track and field are the primary tenants of Hodges Stadium. They get precedence over pretty much everything. Everything needs to be coordinated at Hodges Stadium around track and field and men's and women's soccer.
Okay.
Right now, with men's and women's soccer being in season, right now they take precedence over everything.
Okay.
But again, we have to coordinate all practices and things of that nature. One thing that we do control is no outside entities comes into Hodges Stadium on the field or anything doing men's and women's soccer in season or track and field in season. We keep everything else out.
Okay. And what is, I want to say athletics, the athletic fields, the arena, even baseball and softball, which we exclusively hold. What's the mission? Is it to specifically, I guess you'd speak on what the mission is for these, and are they all different? Because I know that there's some pressure, not on athletics, but on recreation to potentially raise money through these venues. What, as you understand it, is the mission for these athletic facilities on campus?
First and foremost, with UNF being now a Division I institution as far as athletics, the first thing is make all athletic facilities as best Division I quality as possible. Understanding the fact that the better facility you have, the better fields you can put the athletes on, the better locker rooms you can have. All that impacts recruiting. It impacts the type of recruits that coaches can bring in. It impacts everything around athletics. So having a Division I facility, that's what our mission is as far as athletics. And trying to get all parties that play a role in this throughout the university to understand that, you can't run a Division I program with a Division II or Division III mentality. There's certain standards that goes with Division I. As far as walking into a clean, organized locker room that is appealing to a recruit on any given day. Walking into a baseball facility that is crisp, that is clean, that is the field is manicured. Any given day. And that's the mission I have for the staff that I oversee, is to make sure you conduct yourself and make sure you work with the mindset that a coach can bring a recruit on campus any given day, and your area is spectacular, and everything you do and the way you carry yourself and the way you talk, everything is straight up Division I quality. And that's what our mission, that's what my mission is. No one has dictated to me what the mission is for athletics, but having worked other places and now with UNF going Division I think that's the goal, to get everybody to think we're Division I, it's a certain standard with Division I, and so you can conduct yourself accordingly.
I guess my last question would be, we talked in our chapter a lot about all the different levels of management that go on in this, in facilities and event management. And sometimes things come up, you have to think on your feet, you have to handle something you might not have foreseen, and that there's a high stress level in that job, but that's something that, like the buck stops here, you have to handle as an event administrator or as somebody handling the facility. Do you have any examples of when that has happened to you?
I would say this past season, the numbers increased drastically for men's basketball games, and the students, came out in great numbers. And on top of that, this was the first year that we were selling alcohol at our events. And so just to see the influx of students, and even though we had security in place, but we didn't envision the arena filling as quickly as it did, and then having to manage alcohol being sold, and trying to make sure that it's not being passed off to students that are underage and things of that nature. Even though we had all the exits, we had all the aisles and everything managed as for security, but what we didn't think of is, okay, if these student sections fill with capacity, who we have in place to make sure the alcohol is not passed off to underage students and things of that nature. And so it took some quick thinking from me to, like, okay, we pull people from other exits and shut down other exits around the outside of the arena, and pulled in security from the outside, from the parking lots, to put in student section to make sure that we stay in compliance as far as selling alcohol and things of that nature. So that's something that we didn't anticipate, because going off the numbers from last year, we were saying, let's see how this is going to turn out and things of that nature. Well, when it turned out in the record numbers, then we had to plan accordingly. It wasn't a thing where we can pick up the phone and call other security to come in. No, you had to utilize what you have that particular night and then adjust in the future. So that was one thing that, amongst that, making sure that our hospitality room, which alcohol is served in that, is manned and secure, and making sure the hallways and the locker rooms are manned and secure. And so all of it played a role, and lo and behold, we didn't miss a beat. We had it handled, everything went well, but it gave us something to, when we went back to the drawing board before the next game, to say, okay, instead of 20 security, we really need 35 security to make sure that we don't have any problems with underage student drinking and things of that nature at competitions.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right.